Okay, welcome to week 10. You guys all took the midterm. Well, actually, I have several students, well, 3 or 4 that haven't taken it yet. So I can't release any answers yet, although you should be able to see how you did in the grade book at this point. Um, let's see. Oh, did get somebody arriving here. That's good. All right, so today is our last meeting before the spring break. Next week, we have spring break from March 30th through April 4th. And then we'll come back. So I want to go over assignment number 4 today, as well as the art of recursion. So without further ado, I'm going to start in with assignment number 4. And this will be recorded in this video here, assignment number 4. So let's go take a look here. So this week is all about recursion, by the way. So what you're going to do for assignment number 4 is you're going to create a recursive data structure. And it's going to hold a family tree. So you're going to use any tree structure that you want. But the idea here is we're going to implement recursion. So any tree structure could be a binary tree, could be a 2-3, a 3-3, red, black, any tree you want. It doesn't have to be one that was presented in the course. It can be one that you've heard of in the past or one that you're getting familiar with now. So you choose the tree data structure to implement the following behaviors. So you don't need to use your own family. You can if you want, but you don't have to. You can choose a fictitious family like the Simpsons or any TV family that you might be familiar with, or you could just make one up as well. Maybe make up your ideal family or something. So you're going to present this family by looking at each one of the family members and creating a person object for each one of them. So the person object should have at least 3 fields. And it's going to have a name. Could be mom, dad, could be sister, could be brother, or it could just be their name as well. So each of the mom and dad fields will either be null or will point to another person object, which is what makes it recursive. So people are related to other people. So the person object will have relationships with other objects, could be daughter of such and such and such. So you can represent that in any way that you want, but you do want that linkage to occur. So for example, you might create an object like the following. So person me is equal to new person. This is a fictitious name, by the way, Jessica. Well, it's based on a TV character, but me.dad is equal to new person. Father Parker, me.mom is equal to new person. Mother Parker, me.mom.dad. So you can go recursively. So you can go, each one of your parents has a mother and a father, or had one at one point, and vice versa, as it goes up to the family tree. So make a family tree that has at least 4 generations. And your generation can be the last one. But you don't have to do that. You can just make a generic 4-generation tree. So even if you must make up people, yeah, you might have to make up some people if you can't go back 4 generations. So connect all the people in your tree to the appropriate manner, in the appropriate manner, which means you have the parents listed for all of the person objects. To do this, you're going to add an additional method to the class. For example, you might want to have a method that works like this, me.addParents. So you'll have setters and getters, perhaps for each person, but you can also have support methods to add parents to an object. You can even extend that further. You can put aunts and uncles in there if you wanted to. So you could implement it like this, where you have a class person, I have a person mom and a person dad inside of the class. So you have a class that's going to have person objects inside of it because all of these objects are people or persons. And so you're going to nest inside of person more people, more persons. You could have a void add parents, perhaps. These are suggestions. It's not a requirement. Where you have a string father name and a string maybe the mother's name, and then this dot add new person or father name. So you can have setters and getters for the people that are inside of the people object. So you're going to write a recursive function to count how many people are in your tree. So you're going to use objects. maybe C++ or Java, actually. They're both going to be about the same implementation. The class person might look like this with an integer count, and then the integer sum is equal to 1 because that's you. And then if the mom doesn't equal null, then sum plus equals mom.count. So you can put a counter inside each one of the people, and then you can add them up. And then system out, the tree has blank me.count people in it. But here's the meat of what you're doing. So you're going to create that person class as outlined above. Again, you don't have to use the exact implementation method that I suggested. You can implement it any way that you want. So this should allow the person to keep track of their name and their parents. And then you can write a method that recursively prints out the family tree. And recursion is the key word here today. So we want to use a recursive function or method that prints out all of the members of this tree. And it doesn't have to do it graphically, obviously. You can do it on a command line. Write a method is related that takes a string, which is the name of the person, and it will return a Boolean, true or false, indicating whether or not this given person is related to the current person. So the me.isRelated, grandfather on mom's side, will return true, while me.isRelated somebody else will return false. So you want to see if people are related to each other, which means there's an indication in there that they are part of that family tree. Excuse me, as soon as I start talking, my voice goes. And then we're gonna have a method called add siblings. So you can change the is related to also look through siblings as well. Or you can make a separate method for that as well. So these are the 4 requirements. The person object itself, printing it out, checking to see if a person is related, and then the ability to add siblings. So this can be implemented in any programming language that you wish. I would say Java or C++, whatever you've been using so far. Or you can try out Python. Python does objects as well. But you do want to make it object-oriented. You want an object, and you want to do all of the searching through the tree. You want to do it via recursive techniques. So those are the only 2 really hardcore requirements there. And then this list of functionality needs to be implemented. Questions on part 1? Moving right along then to part 2. So the second part has nothing to do with the first part. So you need to implement heaps. So if you remember last week or the week before, I talked about heap structures. There's 2 different ways. We have an array-based implementation, and we can also do a dynamic binary tree representation of the heaps. If you look at that heaps and more lecture, you'll see a couple of the different implementation techniques. So both of these heaps will store the exact same data that you're going to use, and the data is going to be in the form of a priority queue of students. So instead of a person, and you could probably reuse some of this code actually, you would create a student object, and you would create a queue of students that's represented as a heap, either as an array-based implementation or with a dynamic binary tree representation. Each node will have 2 important pieces of data, the student name, which is a string, and the priority number or integer, because this is a priority queue. So we have objects that have a priority associated with them that you'll need to add to, so you'll need to use or pointers if you're using C++, that is. If you're using Java, you don't have to worry about pointers, but it's going to be pointers to other objects or other students. And you may also assume that you will have not more than 100 students, so make it small. If the tree is too big, it's going to be too time-consuming to go through. And you need to implement the following functions for this particular heap. If you're implementing it in C++, only if using C++ or Java class implementation, you'll need a constructor. If you're using Python, you don't necessarily need the constructor. So it will really depend on the language that you've selected to implement this. We want an insert function to insert into the heap. We want to delete, a peek, a print, and only if you have C++, a deconstructor, destructor. that should say deconstructor, but anyway. Implement the above program in any programming language that you wish, using any technique that you want. Maybe Python, actually, that would be a good language for this, or Java, actually. You're going to submit both part 1 and part 2 to the assignment for submission area. And there's an extreme level of flexibility. So you can, kind of pick, you don't have to use your own family for part 1. You can make it up. You can also change the theme slightly if you want, but you do want the ability to create a recursive tree structure so that you can go through it using a recursion to pull out, using one object is leading to another object that's going to lead to another object to pull out the information that you're looking for, and then count up people. And in part 2, you kind of got the tree structure already created in part 1. You can modify that program to also, or create a new version of it to implement that heap of students. So a person and a student is very similar, actually, concept. Except for the student's going to have a priority number associated with it, because we're going to do what's called a priority queue. So the priority could be based on the number of units that they've completed. Students with more, and then if you think about applications of this, it might be something for priority registration or something, or it's based on the number of units you've completed. So you can change the theme around slightly so that the number is based on units, or is just a basic priority. And a priority could be a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, or it could just be an integer value set as a priority. So if you have any questions, you can always send me an email. I'm going over the assignment because it is actually due, assignment number 4, and will be due week 10. What do we got? March 29th. So March 29th is the due date for that one, which happens to be next Sunday. So, and again, you have the rest of the semester to turn your assignments in after you've taken the midterm. Now, you can focus more on the assignments perhaps if you've delayed that a bit. So, but yeah, that one will be due at the end of this week, but you have an entire week off because of the spring break. So some people might want to delay it and work on it over the spring break. Outside of that, you don't have to do anything for this class. There's no class meeting next week, and you don't have to do anything at all for this class for the spring break. So I'm not one of those teachers that gives you a project to work on while you're supposed to be taking time off. So I'm just presenting this assignment just so that you have something to work on this week, and perhaps finish it up after the spring break. So all right, I'm going to stop this recording because I want to keep it separate.